Come on, 2, 3.
Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Thursday, December 23rd, 2021. And our top story today, we'll take a look at the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Waiver. Joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, Betsy Mayo is the founder of the Institute of Student Loan Advisors. Betsy, great to see you. Happy holidays. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. And I should point out that behind you is your wrapping station. In addition to being a student loan expert, which you are, you're also an expert wrapper. You have your own wrapping station. So that's exciting. Maybe we can do next year, we can do a Betsy shows us how to wrap segment. I mean, wrap, W-R-A-P, not wrap. Or maybe you can wrap too.
No, unless it's about student loans, maybe. It might be better to discuss how to wrap when there are cats in the house that want to help you wrap.
There you go. Well, we'll have to do that spot too. And Betsy is always assisted by her lovely feline friends. Betsy, let's talk about waivers for public service loan forgiveness. First, let's tee this up because some of us, including myself, may not know exactly what this program is, but I know you do.
Yeah, we do a lot of work with public service loan forgiveness, or PSLF. PSLF was written into law under Bush II in October 2007. The Congress's intent for the program was to provide relief for borrowers that chose a path of public service. What they were hearing is a lot of well-known public service positions, social workers, public defenders, teachers. What they tend to have in common is they require a degree beyond an undergraduate degree, and that's where the student debt tends to rack up. Yet the pay tends to be much lower than if they were to go into the private sector. So the way public service loan forgiveness works is that if you work for, it actually doesn't matter what you do. What matters is who you work for. So if you work for a government employer, and that's federal, state, local, or tribal, or a 501c3 nonprofit, or there are some other eligible nonprofits that are a little more rare, but if you work for one of those for 10 years while making payments under an eligible repayment plan, which tends to be an income-driven plan, then the balance of the loan will be forgiven. So the problem was sort of the rollout of that program. When it was first written into law, up until probably 2016, there was not a lot of good outreach and education and information out there about the program. So there's a lot of borrowers that thought they were progressing towards forgiveness when they actually weren't, because they had the wrong type of loan, they had the wrong payment plan, for example. So on October 6th, the Biden administration made a really remarkable announcement. And if you'd asked me, Jeff, if this would ever happen, I would have told you no. And actually, the reason they're able to do this is because of the pandemic, believe it or not. There's a piece of legislation called the HEROES Act, which allows the president to go beyond federal statute in cases of emergency. So I suppose this is one good thing that came out of the pandemic. But, excuse me, what this waiver does is it puts aside a lot of the rules that have tripped people up for PSLF along the way.
So, Betsy, and thank you for that very detailed explanation. I told you you'd be the right person, although I still want to hear that student loan wrap. But, Betsy, obviously, pandemic puts in place these rules. We get a waiver. How do I qualify, or do I need to qualify? What do I need to do in order to, if I'm a public servant, what do I need to do to qualify for this waiver or enact this waiver?
Well, so what the waiver does is what they're doing is they're no longer going to be looking at, for this temporary period, doesn't matter what repayment plan you were in. What matters is the months that your loan were actually in repayment. So they actually don't care if you were late, if you didn't pay quite enough, just whether the loan was actually in a repayment status. And you have to have a direct loan. So if you don't have a direct loan, but you need to, so if you have a Perkins loan or a Federal Family Education Loan Program loan, you need to consolidate those loans into the direct loan program via studentaid.gov prior to October of 2022. And then you also have to submit proof of any periods of eligible employment prior to October of 2022. And then they'll go in and do a count under these waiver rules.
And are there any tax ramifications, or what do I need to know from a resultant perspective, like if I'm filing taxes, or how do I interact with my loan issuer, all that kind of good stuff?
For PSLF, it's not taxed at the federal level. There are a couple states that do tax PSLF forgiveness at the state level. It's funny you bring that up because Pennsylvania was one of them, and I believe just last week they passed a bill getting rid of the tax on that forgiveness in that state. But there's only a couple states that do tax public service loan forgiveness.
Yeah. Well, Betsy, I need to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk more about student loan forgiveness, and a lot more with Betsy Mayo. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms? Especially for the smaller businesses. I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
You need a financial plan that fits the way you want to live in retirement. A plan that can help grow and protect your money, now or in the future. With an annuity in your plan to help cover essential expenses, you'll have the freedom to live the retirement you want. This is what an annuity can do. Find the right financial professional to show you how. Learn more at protectedincome.org.
Are you stuck with a low credit score? A credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and call Credit Repaired for your free credit evaluation to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives, and we just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took to start back on the track to repairing his credit.
I'm seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
All it takes is one call to get started.
Credit Repair has given me a second chance to have a better credit score.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation.
Call 800-819-4152. That's 800-819-4152. Again, 800-819-4152.
Welcome back. We're talking this morning with Betsy Mayo of the Institute of Student Loan Advisors. Betsy, thanks so much for staying with us this morning.
Yeah, no problem. This is a really important topic. I'm glad you're covering it because it covers such a limited period. The more outreach we do, the better.
Absolutely. And I want to remind viewers that they can go to freestudentloanadvice.org. That's the website that Betsy runs. Betsy, all this information and probably a lot more. I mean, we can only do so much in 15 to 20 minutes, right? A lot of more information is available on the site.
I do encourage people that think this might apply to them to go to our website. In addition to the basics about the waiver, we have a really extensive FAQ document that a lot of borrowers have found helpful because there actually are a lot of details to this. And quite frankly, some of it might sound too good to be true. So that's led to a lot of questions as well.
So let me ask you, what are some of the other details? You said, and I want to get to too good to be true in a minute, but what are some of the other top level things? Obviously, we can't give this enough time, enough justice, but what are some things that we need to be thinking about in terms of more detail?
Well, normally anytime you consolidate a loan, it resets your PSLF count. And in fact, there's still a lot of language out there on the internet that states that. But under this temporary waiver only, when you consolidate, it will not reset your count. So for example, if you had FFEL loans and you made 8 years worth of payments, regardless of the payment plan for under this waiver, if you consolidate, you're going to get credit for those 8 years of payments. On a similar note, and this applies mostly to people that have both undergraduate and graduate loans. If your loans are at different counts, so say you went to undergraduate school, worked for a little while, accrued like 20 PSLF payments, then went to graduate school, and then after graduate school started working. So your undergrad loans now have 70 PSLF payments and your grad loans only have 50. If you consolidate those together just during this temporary waiver, the entire consolidation is going to get credit for that higher 70 count. So I've actually seen people who have very recent loans, but also much older loans, under this waiver, consolidate them together and get the whole thing forgiven.
Thanks for that, Betsy. Let me ask you, you made the comment, sometimes things are too good to be true. Do you have some examples of what people should be looking at? These aren't necessarily scams, but they're just maybe misinformation that people are getting.
Well, what I was referring to is that a lot of this waiver sounds too good to be true. And in this scenario, it actually is true. But because it sounds too good to be true, people have been hesitant to pull the trigger and do what they need to do to qualify for it because they're afraid of potential consequences. And I'm here to say that in this case, even though it sounds too good to be true, it actually really is. The Department of Education has a lot of information about it on their own website. We, of course, have the detailed information on ours. One thing that I'm still a little salty about is for some reason, for the most part, they excluded Parent Plus loans from this waiver. Now, to be clear, Parent Plus loans are eligible for PSLF anyway, but they're not counting what would normally be an ineligible payment on a Parent Plus loan under the waiver for some reason. They haven't given me a good excuse for that, but that is one of the things I was disappointed about this waiver.
Well, now, will there be some revisions to this, or this is the rule? It's no longer going to change, and the final effective date of this rule, or the date that this waiver ends, I should say, is Halloween 2022. So first, are there going to be potential revisions, or this is it, and that the waiver ends Halloween next year?
There won't be any more revisions under this waiver. There's some other things that they haven't done yet. They've announced but haven't done yet that will be done later in 2022. For example, borrowers that have military service have historically had a really hard time getting that service signed off on, and the Department of Ed is working with other government agencies to be able to do that automatically. That's going to be rolled out later next year. There's also, you and I have talked about the negotiated rulemaking process in the past. They did make some more, they proposed some more permanent changes to PSLF under the negotiated rulemaking process last month. Those won't take effect till 2023, and they won't be anywhere near as robust as what we're seeing under this temporary waiver.
Well, certainly a lot going on in the world of student loans. More to come. People can always check out Betsy's website, freestudentloanadvice.org. Betsy Mayo, always a pleasure chatting with you. I can't get it out, but it's always a pleasure chatting with you. Wishing you a very happy holiday to you, Alice, and the rest of your feline friends. We'll talk to you again in January.
Sounds good. Happy New Year.
And that wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the information in lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, so much more, and all in one place, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to search our archives and see our latest content? Check out our website and, of course, our streaming partners, Roku, Amazon, Samsung, so many more. We're back again tomorrow with another edition of BRN AM. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes. Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the first lifestyle and wellness network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.